Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. This is LZ, and I'm here with Nick. And we have a special episode today. We have a guest. Sometimes we have guests, and today we have a guest. We have Alex Tressler, who is a big hobby influencer, gets involved with podcasts, YouTube. He's at all the card shows. You probably see him all over the place on on IG. On IG goes by Army ATC 22. But the reason why we wanted to have him on is because me and Nick from afar have been watching Alex recently, and he's got his hands in like so many different things. And we actually caught up right before this podcast, and he was even telling us about some of the other stuff that he's going to be doing soon. And we told him to stop talking about it because we want to be surprised. So we're going to be surprised with all of you as Alex gets into just everything that he's getting involved with the hobby. I think this will be a really good good show for all of us. So Alex, it is great to have you. Welcome to the pod.
No, LZ, Nick, I appreciate you guys reaching out and having me on. It's funny, I tell everyone, while I'm sitting at work doing everything, I have podcasts I listen to each day. Seriously, I'm so consumed in hobby content and everything, just trying to stick with the times and everything. I'm getting older. I got to find other ways to, know the buzzwords and everything else, all the young people do out there. But, I have certain days for certain podcasts, and I've listened to you guys for a long time. So it's really cool that when Nick reached out saying, "Hey, we want to have you on," and everything. But I do have to say, I'm not an influencer. I'm a content creator.
Content creator.
I got it. To be considered an influencer anyway. Now, if one person listens to what I have to say, educational and everything else, and they kind of go that route, that's fine or whatever. Because I have tons of tricks, tips, and everything else that you can use that I've known over decades in this industry and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm an influencer at all.
I think you influence me when I watch you.
Yeah.
So I think, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
One of the biggest recently that I technically have influenced is, I don't know if you guys saw the little reel I did with the tape, so if you take a piece of tape, fold it over, put it down, and when you're taking team bags or the PSA slab bags and put it on there.
Oh yes, I remember this.
I absolutely saw that.
Yes.
And I 100% do that now.
Yeah.
So you have changed the way that I do that. That was a great one. It was so simple too. It's like, why didn't I think of that?
Because by the end of the day, you have like 20 of them on your hands.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So for the audience, go to his Instagram, check that out. It's just a really cool hack with some Scotch tape. It's awesome. It's great. It's funny you don't say I am like one of the most easily influenced human beings on the planet. Like if a pair of sweatpants comes through the feed, I'm like, I'm buying it. I got to check it out. So you could have 2 followers and say something's awesome. I'm buying it. I don't know what's wrong with me. But
All right, so I'm going to add. All right, so content creator is now added to the list here on my notes.
I like it.
Got it.
Sweet. So, Alex, one of the other reasons I reached out to you, we're coming up on Memorial Day when we air this podcast, and you're a veteran, and LZ and I, that's huge for us. Thanks for your service, obviously.
Yes, thank you.
And my first exposure to you was watching a video of you on YouTube in a full uniform, ripping packs of cards. And I was like, that's really dope. Like, it looked like you weren't deployed. It looked like a house, but I could be wrong. I don't know, where you were or anything like that.
You're correct.
But can you just tell me about that? Like, how did that end up happening? Did you ever rip packs when you were deployed, or did you just kind of like do this in your uniform?
So the main video a lot of people know me from, of course, I don't have the beard, a lot younger. Everything else was in 2008, end of 2008, beginning of 2009. Back then, I hosted a lot of group breaks on YouTube. I was one of the first, I wouldn't say pioneers. If anyone doesn't know Chris Justice, aka Cards Infinity, he is the pioneer of putting your hands in front of a camera and opening cards for people. He is the first one to ever do it online, and he's still doing it today on YouTube. But I used to host group breaks and it was the first basketball break I've ever done. I was doing a lot of football and baseball prior to. I was like, you know what? I want to dabble in basketball because I know all sports. I'm just a sports nut. Everything else, that's why when people, it's funny. It's like people are like, we want to go to trivia night. We need to bring Alex with us because he has entertainment and sports. Keep me away from history. Keep me away from science. But sports and entertainment, nope, I'm there.
Got it.
So, so I was just like, okay, I'll do a basketball one. So I do mixers, a couple boxes of one thing in another, and I wanted to get one high end box, and I got a box of Exquisite. Well, Blowout didn't have any. DA, I don't think had any, and so I got one box of Exquisite from Chris, who his shop was down in Wilmington, North Carolina. So I drove down there and got it and brought it back. Long story short, in that box was dual logo man John Stockton and Steve Nash 101 auto. And if you go to my Instagram, it's like one of the pin posts. If you go to my YouTube, it's the featured video of just the clip for it. It is, I would say, possibly one of the first ever reaction videos of someone pulling a card, because you see so much of it today.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That's out there. And the wild thing is that one group break, because I've already done multiples well before, was the one where everyone was just, when we were commenting prior to the breaks, like, why don't you break in uniform for once? Because I didn't. It was in my house in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll do this one in uniform and everything. So, and of course, that then happened. So yeah. But to your other question, have I ever broken in deployments? I have.
Oh,
I posted a few Throwback Thursday type videos and stuff on Instagram, but on my YouTube, there's still some. We'll go way back. You got to scroll through. You'll see some videos that the connection wasn't good and the camera wasn't good, so it's a little bit grainy. It's a little bit, right. So you got to bear through that, but. You'll see me pull Steph Curry Exquisite rookie auto. You'll see me pull a Jordan limited logos out of 23 auto. I opened up a lot of national treasures. I opened a lot of stuff while I was deployed.
Where were you, Alex? Where were you deployed?
If you can say.
Yeah.
At that time, my first deployment when I was younger, before when I wasn't really back in the cards again, was in Iraq. Then I had 3 other ones that were in Afghanistan. Wow. The main ones that I did cards over there with, whatever, was in Bagram, one of the main focal posts in Afghanistan, where a lot of the hub, pretty much, where people were coming in and out of. Mm. Yeah, there in Kandahar, that was more the northern one. But Blowout Cards would ship me direct to where I'm at, like literally in the military postal services and everything. I'd have a case of cards in 5 days from Blowout. From order to me.
What?
You can't even get that fast in like California, Hawaii.
No, you can't.
You can't. Puerto Rico, no way. And you're in like the Middle East. That's wild.
Yes. So I had my own little setup of a couple boxes, like literally with supplies, everything else, and making sure everything was taken care of over there. And I was wheeling dealing over there too, selling on eBay, selling on Blowout forums. I was doing everything and shipping out. There was a FedEx station. At the time when I finally went to Afghanistan, everything's built up already. It's not. A lot of people think, when you see a deployment and stuff like that, it's already built up. There was a Burger King there. There was a Pizza Hut there. There was, everything. And FedEx was there. So if I sold something, I'd ship it out FedEx. And I sold some stuff and I pulled some stuff too. So
that's awesome.
Wow.
What a great way to have stress relief,
So that's the reason why I did all that stuff on my off time when I wasn't at work and everything else, not dealing with everything. I'd be in my living quarters. We had B huts. They were just one little 8x8 room with a bed and a little desk and stuff. And I'd be sitting there with my digital camera, just shooting me open. And a lot of times you can hear me trying to be quiet because other people are sleeping, or I didn't want to be the nerd dealing with sports cards around all these other people and everything else. So
did they think you were a nerd, or did some of them think you were cool?
A lot of people at first, they all think it's, what are you doing with this stuff? Like that's, nerdy. And then I show them like, well, I sold this card for $2,000, and be like, well, hold on a second.
Whoa, wait a minute.
What?
what's going on here now? I'm like, yeah, let me show you some other stuff from some other things. This card right
Yeah.
here sold for like $1 million. It'd be like, say what? Right. So quickly their thought process changes. So
Yeah. So you were one of the first to ever have like a reaction video you'd mentioned. Do you think you might have been one of the first to be like buying, selling, ripping packs deployed?
uh
You have to be.
I would think
Right?
so.
possibly, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that I did that. I mean, I of course on there I said like, hey, on blowout forums, I'd be like, I'm shipping from in the messages, I'm shipping from Afghanistan. It's coming FedEx. The price that I'm putting in this is because I'm paying an extra
Yeah.
$30 for it to stay.
Yeah.
Right. And it's funny is like, if you guys know who Shine is, right? The guy that buys all the big stuff. So my limited logo that I pulled over there is this latest Jordan limited logo out of 23 that he posted, the 09010, that he just picked up. So I messaged him. We've talked before, and I messaged him and I was like, that's the one I pulled, and I linked him to my video. I'm like, those old school Grail cards and stuff like that, you don't have the videos of being pulled and everything. I literally can show him the case it was in and it being in Afghanistan where it came out, and he has a story to that card. It's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah,
so
wild.
awesome. Jeez, man, here I am thinking I'm adventurous. Like I'll rip a pack at the beach house or something. You're like in a
The beach house.
yeah. I mean, give me a break. You're
Come
like
on.
you're in Afghanistan, ripping packs, send them to the FedEx. That's just awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So let's fast forward like from you doing that to now this big content creator, and I mentioned at the beginning, who's like, you're involved in like so much. Like, I see you at all the big shows. You're making a ton of content at all the big shows. You're interviewing a lot of interesting people, putting out great content. I know, and well, I'm gonna you can officially announce it if you want, but I know like you're going to the national this year, and you have a big role at the national. So why don't you talk about that too? But I'm curious, like, to get there, like, how did you go from that to where you are now?
I think it's just being a genuine person, and being a nice being a nice person, right?
Mm,
The friend this industry, this hobby is more, and I tell everyone this, it's more than about the transactions. It's the networking, it's the interaction, the friendships that you get. I have I started out in the YouTube community. A lot of people don't know this, and it's still today. If you go on Instagram, there's a whole card community there. If you go on YouTube, there's a complete different one. If you go on TikTok, completely, there's people on TikTok that have no clue there's a YouTube community, and everything else. It's wild. And I interact with everybody. I just like going around, hearing people's stories, seeing where they're coming from, what they're doing, what's their goals, what are they trying to get to, and if I can, use some of the knowledge that I've had over a couple decades, or a decade and change, of doing this, then I can. I was around, and I dealt with, Tops and Upper Deck losing their licenses back in 2010, right? And now we're going through Panini's getting ready to, they're losing their licenses in a few years. So I've seen that already, and be like, guy, be prepared for a huge sticker dump by Panini, because they have to get rid of them, and they already started doing that in Prism this year in football. When you have a Trey Lance third string Cowboys quarterback auto in a box of Prism, that shows you right there. They're sticker dumping already.
it's a good giveaway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sticker
So
dumping. That's the first time I've heard sticker dumping. I like that.
Tops and Upper Deck did it. They went crazy with it back in about from 09 to like 2012, I think it was.
Wow.
With baseball for the main one for Upper Deck, because they lost that license, and eventually football for Tops.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then fast forward. All right, let's go a little further. Like, tell us about what you're doing with the national. What's
right.
going on there?
Yeah. So I just recently announced that I am a media ambassador for the National Sports Collectors Convention this year. I dealt with them last year too. I just wasn't considered a media ambassador. I'm the type of person, no matter what, right? The easiest thing you can do, the cheapest thing you can do for people is share their content. Period. It doesn't matter who it is or whatever. It takes like 2 clicks, boom, it's out there, and it doesn't. You don't need any money for that. You don't need anything. That's just getting good individuals. If they can have like 2, 3 followers or whatever, right? And then just getting like, I think that's pretty cool. Let's share it there. Like right now, every other day, I'm posting for one of my good friends, Tyler Santiago from Santiago Sports, is one of the biggest Lions fans I ever know. I'm posting on my story, tagging the NFL draft, the Lions, everyone. I'm trying to get him to be one of the people who announces a Lions pick, right?
Wow.
I'm not doing that for anything, just trying to help him out. It's probably not going to happen because there's been no interaction with it at all. But he's going to be at the draft anyways because it's in Detroit this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see people coming up, guests and stuff and doing the picks in later rounds. I'm just like, let me see if I can just, manifest something for Tyler. And it hasn't happened, but what's it takes me 2 seconds to do that, right? And it'd just be cool for someone else to enjoy that experience. And that's how I feel, my content is and everything else. And Ray Schulte, that who runs the main part, the national and especially the media stuff or whatever, has picked up on it. Last year I talked to him a few times and he sent me a couple of tickets for admission passes that I got to give away around town and everything else like that, at shows and everything I went to. And finally I reached out to him. We've had a back and forth, and I said I'd love to, I don't know if you want a partnership and anything else. He's like, yes, I want to bring you on as an ambassador and everything. Was the rest people, you're out and about, and my aspect is more of the military and the veteran side. I'm trying to show the stories of the vets that are in the hobby and everything else, but at the same time, showing my road to the national, showing the experience that I've had at previous ones and what to I have a video I'm putting together of tips and tricks and what you should prepare for if you've never been to the national and everything. So a lot of people don't know, it's overwhelming. It's a museum. There's so much there, so much going on, and that's why it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's why it's 5 days, because you go 5 days and still not see everything.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, Alex, congratulations
Yeah,
on this
kudos.
title. That's amazing. That's great.
I don't know how much what I get out of it or whatever. I think I just get in and I get some footage from behind the scenes and stuff. But that's the stuff I want to push out there. Even if 1 or 2 people get to see it, it's the stuff you don't see. Everyone's on this side, doing the transactions on this side of the table and everything else. They don't get to see behind the scenes and them rushing a player to an autograph area, or early on in the morning when Derek Jeter's driving through the middle of the National, getting over to the Arena Club area and stuff, right, and all that. So hopefully I'll be able to get some some access to some other things that I believe is different than everyone else. See, like, what's really funny is like all my Chantilly stuff. I can guess we're going to go right into that too. All my Chantilly footage, there's not one transaction that's going to be in the footage. Nope, there's one with Kayla Collects. She came on and she did one. We did one video of her picking up something, but that's it. The rest of them, I'm in one of Tyler Santiago's last vlogs, I think, of the day. I bought some stuff from him, but I'm showing everything else. I'm showing the things and stuff because there's already enough. There's already enough of the transaction videos out there. So many times you show someone buying a Trevor Lawrence auto, right?
100%.
Yeah, like
Totally
last year, neither LZ or I got to the national, and some of the coolest stuff, I was living vicariously through everybody. And like you said, you use the word museum, and that's actually I never thought of it that way. You've got Rick Probstein's, like Mona Lisa framed, PSA 10 Jordans, 21 or two, I don't know, a million of them.
30,
and then you look over
31.
there and there's a $10 million Mickey Mantle card. And then there's Derek Jeter just getting shuttled around in a golf cart and zipping around. And that's interesting. You don't have to show like just cards and deals because it's a spectacle, So I'm looking forward to seeing what you kind of do with it, that'll be kind of fun to see.
Well, so we are going to be heading to the national this year as well. So and I'm definitely going to look up that video that you're going to put together for tips and tricks because Could use all the help I
Is
can
it
get. I got to get organized.
your first one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
first one.
Have you?
We're
So I try to tell individuals, like, have you been to like a bigger regional show? Like, how many shows have you been to?
Not really. I mean, the
the
biggest
biggest
show I've
300
probably like a
tables.
300 table ish. I've
So
been
that
to massive technology conferences, so I'm familiar with big conferences of people. But yeah, for hobby
Yeah.
shows,
Yeah, the
not a
Shriner
big one.
show is 300 tables. That's probably the biggest
Yeah.
LZ and I have been to like
Yeah, so
locally.
so a lot of individuals, if they, I talk to them, they're saying, "Hey, this is the first time." That's one of the tricks. One of the tips is, if it's your first time ever going, try to hit up a regional show. Start baby steps. I use
Hmm.
I use the, use the term with the baby steps from I can't even think of the name of the movie. Holy crap, with Bill Murray. What's
Oh, what about Bob?
Caddyshack.
What
What
about
about
Bob?
Bob? Yeah, what about Bob? Yeah, there we go.
hopefully I
It's a
didn't take
good
that.
comedy show, a
Yeah,
good comedy movie right there. Yep.
steps right.
uh,
Start find a show if you never really go into any or whatever, a smaller 20, 30, 40 table one.
Yeah.
Work your way up, because you going from a 40, 50 table show to a few thousand table show is going to overwhelm you a lot.
that is
Hmm.
such good advice, Alex. So LZ and we went to our first show in probably late 2020, I would say. Local show. We're talking,
Yeah.
what was that, LZ? 20 tables?
20.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 20.
Maybe 30, right?
Hmm.
We were overwhelmed. We're like, oh my
When we
gosh,
went to,
this is
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the biggest
Mm.
show ever. Look at this line. This is crazy. Look at all these cards. Because all it had been prior to that was the stuff in our attics and eBay. We
Hmm.
hadn't really like done this. And
Hmm.
then, like I said, we graduated to the Shriners, which is a whole nother level of overwhelming. And the Fenway show is great too. That Card Vault puts on. That's really good advice.
Is
Practice. Go to a show and
yeah.
practice. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, just do the baby steps, and know that just because you're there, you don't need to be pressured you never need to be pressured to buy anything.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like museum, like on top of the cards, you have like full Babe Ruth jerseys and bats and displays and everything just stuffed all over. They've even they expanded even more with like the Breakers Pavilion, so you have all these big breakers that are out there, the backyard and hobby house, and all the whole bleacher empires there and everything.
Yeah.
In the one area, in the whatnot area, and they're just all live at the time, and people are just crowded around watching them do live breaks, and they're doing
Right.
giveaways, going interacting with the crowd, so you can get sucked into that and be taken away from that. Then you have all the booths for all the big companies, Topps, Panini, all those other
Hmm.
ones, and they're doing their giveaways, their silver packs, which, by the way, my number one thing to get at the National are the exclusive packs from Topps and Panini, period. That's You
Okay.
got to.
Okay.
All right. I'm
Done.
gonna jot that down. I'm
Done.
taking notes right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man.
Hmm.
So geez, that's great. I feel like you could write a book on this. You are well placed as the ambassador of the National. I will say
Yes, you
that.
are.
Um so Alex, this is kind of almost like a two-part question. It looks like, I could be wrong, but is this something, a content creator that you are either now doing full time or want to explore doing full time? And also, what advice would you have for somebody they've got like 2 followers and they're like, I've got some cool stuff to share. Like, how should they get started?
So I don't want to do this full time.
Mm.
I want to do this. I always said this has been a hobby for me. This is something, I got back into the hobby. I mean, I'll go back first. I grew up, collecting cards with my dad when I was a kid. Me and my brother did. We would everything from even cutting out the UPCs and post serial and sending them in, and they send you the cards back through the mail and stuff
Oh
like that.
yeah. Mhm.
We went searching, and I remember the biggest hunt we had. Everyone's searching for Wemby right now and everything else, right? Our big search that we had was for like the no-name Frank Thomas, rookie, and those packs and stuff. So at some point, it just disappeared. Like I stopped. I don't know what it was. I think I know what it was. I think it's called puberty, and I've realized there's girls out there and everyone, and then it was just I got no, it's that, or the Men in Black came up to me and hit me with their lovely machine and just wiped my brain, right?
I want one of those.
Yeah. Um, and then in 2008, when I got back into it, I went through a bad divorce and I needed something to get my mind off of it. And I was just like, I need to pick up a hobby. I need to do something. Yeah, everyone goes and works out a lot and, goes through whatever they do, whatever, or they'll go buy a new toy, a new ATV or something like that and do it. But it just so happened one of my coworkers and his son was at work and they were opening a box of cards, actually Topps Chrome 2008, and they pulled an autograph. And I was like, I don't remember those in packs. So I did a little research and I found out the whole craziness of the industry again back then, and that's what got me, started with it again. So, it was always, going back to your original question, this has always been an outlet for me to get away from my everyday life. It's a hobby for me. It will always be a hobby for me, and the fact that I can come on and create stuff was an outlet for me to not think about what was happening in my life, and it still is that way today. That's why I do some funny content. I like interviewing people. I like hearing other stories. I'm hearing their story and not thinking about what's going on in my life. So as great as it would be to do full time, I'd love to super travel around the world, go to different things, see other things, stuff. There's a lot of people that do that. Shout out to like Jay Mojo Sports. He is crushing
everywhere.
it.
He is everywhere. Yeah.
And everything like that. But I mean, I'm 100% disabled veteran. I, have a retirement from the military already, and I actually got another job working as an Army civilian here in Virginia. That's a 9 to 5. I had one prerequisite. I wasn't working weekends, I wasn't working nights, and I wasn't working holidays anymore. So just a 8:30 to 4:30 job, Monday through Friday. Gave me some good PTO so I can take time off to go to card shows. Yeah, that's the way it is, and it's opened up a lot of avenues for different things. People reaching out, and there's still even more that I have a few meetings and stuff that could go into other things. There have been some paid partnerships. There's been some other ones where it's just free. I've told companies, I'm like, listen, you send me something, you don't need to pay me or whatever. I'll promote it if I like it, but I'm also going to be 100% honest. If I don't like it, I'm going to let you know.
Yeah.
Period. Like, and if you're willing to do that, allow me to, review it. Okay. And then they don't send me anything because they're afraid. But I at no point did I ever want any of the content that I do to try to make money, period, at all. I just enjoy it. I enjoy meeting.
And I think you come off very genuine. And it with you explaining this, it makes sense. And I think this is why your content is great and people are drawn to your content, because you are genuine and you are honest. So keep doing what you're doing. And you hit on it. I was going to say that this is certainly opening up different avenues and different doors for you. You had even share as much as you want, but you were telling me and Nick before the show, we were catching up, and you were saying how this hobby plus your military background has opened up like a really cool opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Can you share what you can, if you like, whatever you can? Okay.
I can share multiple things. Like,
okay.
If anyone looks back at my, stuff that for the last hobby rip night, I got asked to come up to New York City to do some filming of, the place where Tom Brady went to and everything. So it was literally on a Thursday. Got called and said, hey, this is happening Saturday. Can you get up here? You'll have access, you'll be able to get in and everything else. And we need to shoot some content and stuff. I'm like, Tom Brady's going to be there. I'm a diehard Dolphins fan, and I will, and as much as it hurts to say this, Tom Brady's the best player to ever play football. Period. And
no argument here.
And I sure. And but and it hurts being a Dolphins fan. Dan Marino. My heart and everything. But you can't. The facts are out there. The proof is out there. Like everything he went through, and it's just wild. But yeah, so there's opportunities that have came up, and my name is, since I know so many people out there and stuff, and it's all over the place, and it's wild to think that people talk about me in different locations. So the company Celebrities and Card Breaks, that's owned by Ryan Sweeney, Cole Anthony, Blaze Jordan, and Michael Carter Williams, and now I believe Jace Bowen, who is prospect on the Pirates. They were doing a spring training break down in Florida. They had YZ Official on there with them. They had Kayla Collects. They had a couple other people, and they were, at the hobby shop and stuff. And my name kept coming up about, how much I'm invested in the industry and how much knowledge I have, and how, like you said, how genuine I am and everything. So a lot of good things were said. So Ryan reached out to me. He's reached out to me before, and he's just like, "Hey, I gotta have you come." Originally, it's supposed to come up to Portland. I believe it's Portland. Yeah, where Sea Dogs is where Blaze is playing, and come up there and do a break with Blaze. I'd really like for you to do that and everything, and you can discuss the whole aspect of resiliency and stuff, which I'll talk about in a minute. But we tried to find a good time where Blaze would be off and everything else, but then we found that the new upcoming player that's with the company, Jace Bowen and Blaze, their first time they're playing this year in AA is the week of Memorial Day. So they're playing the day after Memorial Day on like a 3 or 4 game stint. But the Memorial Day, there's nothing going on. So this Memorial Day, myself, Blaze Jordan, and Jace Bowen are going to be in Altoona, Pennsylvania, going around to a couple of the card shops there. I believe we're going to kind of do some stuff for Memorial Day. I think there'll be a parade, maybe go see some, vets and stuff like that. And then I'm also going to possibly talk to some of the players about resiliency, about anxiety, and some tricks and tips that you can use to help with that. Because while I was in the military, while I was in the Army, I got certified by the University of Penn to be a master resiliency trainer. So I have a lot of different tools that you can use, to, try to, you have a problem, trying to figure out ways to, either, jotting down all the bad stuff, good stuff, finding in the middle and coming to a conclusion and everything, little simple things. Like, I'll give you a little tidbit: hunting the good stuff. Every day you should wake up and try to write something down that you did good the day before, period. Right. And that's hunting the good stuff. And if you want, write something down that you want a goal for the day that you want to do. Always think positive. One of the books I've always told my soldiers, I told people that, that are down, everything else, if you bring out negativity, it's going to come back at you twofold. If you push positivity everywhere, and this is one reason why you always see it from me, it's going to come back to you. So I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Secret.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. That book, and then
Napoleon
the book
Hill's.
Yeah.
What's
Think and Grow Rich. And
Think and Grow Rich is another.
That's required reading. My son's 9. I'm already pushing it in his face.
Yes. That I tell everyone they need to read that. And
I agree.
So I'm going to be going. I'm going to try to talk, depending on what players come out and everything. I think they're trying to get Marcelo Meyer to come out with Blaze because they're roommates, and everything and stuff like that. Because all the Pirates and the Red Sox are going to be in the area. They're not playing on Memorial Day. They start their playing afterwards. So hopefully we'll be able to get together and talk with all of them about, their anxiety of getting into the show and stuff like that. But at that night on Fanatics Live, we're going to be doing the breaks because their company is for group breaks and everything. Yeah. So I believe baseball-wise, we'll probably be breaking the new Bowman because it comes out in the beginning of May, Bowman 24. And then they're started ramping up football on their channels and stuff too. Jace is going to kind of be the main football push. So I believe Optic comes out at the end of the month, so we've tried to get that. We might get some immaculate stuff. We're still putting together the breaks, but all the profits from the breaks are actually going to go to the Pat Tillman Foundation. Since it is Memorial Day, that is my main PC is Pat Tillman and everything. So we came up with ideas like, hey, let's all the profits we want to give to someone, we're going to give to the Pat Tillman Foundation. That's going to be Memorial Day.
That is incredible.
Pushed it, have kind of announced it, and everything, and now we're just waiting for the final touches with Fanatics Live and everything else, and what products and stuff before it's actually loaded in there, so people can go buy their spots then.
Sounds great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again,
good
many
cause.
doors.
Yeah.
So many doors have opened for you. And at the beginning, when I introduced you at the beginning of this pod, and I said a few things about you. It's like the next time we have you on, it's going to be twice as long of an introduction because you're like, I don't, whether it's like a life coach or, certainly public speaking, like you're doing a lot, Alex, which
Love
is,
it.
which is
Absolutely
awesome.
love it.
And, it's the Pat Tillman Foundation. Curious though, one follow up to that. So you said your main personal collection is Pat Tillman. Can
Yes.
you just share with me and Nick, like what does that consist of? What does that collection look like?
So he doesn't have that much, but in hindsight, he does, because his stuff's more expensive and it's harder to buy and find. A lot of people don't sell his cards. In the early 2000s, 2001, he was in MVP. So he had a few. He had like a glossy card, his rookie card, and stuff like that. He had an insert in 2001 from one of the playing decks, which I just recently got at the last show. It's really wild. In 2019, so from that, they go all the way to 2019, like 19 years. He was in no card. He was in no sets.
Wow.
But I even have another card that's back from, I think, 2001, maybe 2002. It's an actual Brian Westbrook's card, but Pat Tillman's tackling him or trying to tackle him. So that's the only other card that he's been on. Like the famous, I don't know if you guys know about the one Panini card that has Jordan in the background. Like it's the only Panini card that has Jordan on it.
I didn't know about this.
No.
In the very, here's the card. He's like in the very back. You can kind of see him. Yeah, you gotta
Look that one up.
I don't know exactly which card it is. It's wild. So he wasn't in any cards until 2019. So he was in Select, and he was in a couple other things, and now more recently, Prism. He was in Prism and a few products and stuff. So my main rainbows that I'm putting together is 2021's Prism Rainbow of Pat Tillman. I don't know if anyone knows this, but in 21 is when they kind of vamped up all the different color parallels, and there's 46 different versions.
Good luck.
How many do you have? How many do you have right now?
I have 40 of the 46.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Jeez, I thought you were going to say like 5.
No, so it's been a few years of putting this together. So I know where the 101 is. I will never get it because it's in a Pat Tillman collection. I don't know if you guys know who Nathan Burns is, who owns Grand Slam Collectibles. He is also a big Pat Tillman collector. And one of his posts on Instagram, I think he's showing off like 9 101s, including like the gold vinyl 101 downtown of Pat Tillman. And I mean, he's got everything. So technically I know I gotta get 5 more. I'm picking up a gold at the National because someone's holding on to one. I'm going to do a trade with them. Awesome. So technically I need 4, and those 4 are hard to find. But I've got a lot of other parallels from Select and other Prisms and stuff like that. I got a lot. And then my main piece of the PC is in July of last year, golden auctions. I actually bought a certified framed 16 by 20 autograph of Pat Tillman. JSA certified, everything else, all was there. And I think I got it at a steal. Depending on, you can always go on these sites, depending on the time frame and everything else. Some stuff's on there you can get cheap because it's just not around the time. You'd think a piece like that needs to be sold during Veterans Day or anything around that because it's more military presence. I got that for less than $2,000. And if you search like signed Pat Tillman, just items, you don't find them anywhere. He has like I think I've counted 5 or 6 certified cuts out of products. National Treasures has been a few times. He's been like Leaf Pearl, Superlative, and other things like that. I mean, he doesn't. There's none out there. Flawless, he did a cut of them in one thing of Flawless. They're not out there. So his stuff's extremely rare. So when I saw that and I jumped on the ability to get it, I had to for my collection.
Excellent. So, wow, that's crazy. You are into everything for sure. It's awesome. All right. So we're going to do something fun after. I've got one follow-up question. Then LZ is going to tee something up fun just because you're a positive guy. You're spreading positivity. LZ had this great idea for something fun. But before we do that, one final question. Where you've been in the hobby for ages. You have that YouTube channel is old, and like you said, you were younger, you didn't have a beard, and you've been in the hobby a long time. Do you think the hobby is in a better place than 20 years ago, or do you think it's the same, or you think it's different at all?
Of course it's different. If anything, there's growth, and there's change that happens and stuff. I feel it can go both ways. I think it's some parts it's good, some parts it's bad, right? It's good to see, and I'll use an example. It's good to see more kids in the hobby. Like I said, at some point I stopped, and I didn't come back until I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
And well, late 20s. And then now you see individuals, right, that are in it, and they're in it through all high school and the college and stuff like that. Now the money aspect's probably a big feature to that, being able to sell and make some money on the side, and not have to worry about doing there's no more paper routes, there's no more any of those type of jobs back when you're a kid and everything. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, kids don't even go out and mow the lawn anymore. The parents still do it. I mean, we like doing it. I like going out there and getting dirty and
roll
and
your headphones on, your favorite podcast, and
yes,
cut the lawn.
Just roll.
So there's opportunities for the children these days, that's out there. But that also brings me to, that's the double-edged sword, right? Now, the greed, the gambling aspect, and everything else is more prominent in the hobby, and should our children be, privy to that, more and more being, brought into that environment? What's that going to lead to? Then we don't know. I mean, we're not going to be able to see it for years to come. But I feel like I said, it can go both ways in that aspect. More people are being included in it because more companies are doing it. Athletes, a lot more athletes that are involved these days, and promoting and stuff. So I think it was an industry that was under the radar for a long time, and now it's more prominent and everything. And I think that's good. More people in the industry. The space is big enough for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if you're just out there buying retail because it's cheap, or buying the flawless transcendent boxes because you have the money to spend it, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it can go both ways.
Well, to the point you just made, like I saw a post recently that Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank is now getting involved with cards, and it's like, what is going on? But it just shows that everybody wants to explore this hobby and figure out what it is. And some people are doing it for a profit, others are just doing it for the hobby and for the collection. So yeah. Okay. All right, great. All right, Nick teased it. We're gonna roll it out. So typically we do the traditional coffee question. Audience, we're not doing the coffee question today. We're not doing it. Again, at Nick said, Alex is a very positive guy. He's a funny dude. We know he likes comedies. So we are going to do the first ever on Sports Card Madness.
Ooh.
The first ever comedy movie draft. So we are going to we're going to only do 2 rounds. We're only doing 2 rounds. Alex, I will give you the option. We were planning on doing a snake draft, but I was going to give you the first pick. But you're the guest. Do you want to do a snake draft or a traditional draft?
To make it fair, it needs to be snake draft.
Okay. All right, good. All right.
Getting the number 1 and number 4 kind of would be,
that's a good point. Yeah, it would be like a 3-team fantasy league. That really wouldn't work very well.
to my point, he's a stand-up guy. That's why. There you go. That's why so many people follow him. Stand-up guy, Alex. Okay, so to kick it off, drum roll. Cue the music producer with the number 1 pick in the first ever comedy movie draft. Alex, who you taking?
All right, so my pick definitely is one that would not be able to be shown today in theaters, I believe, right? You have to go back a long time, right? It is directed by Mel Brooks. It is Blazing Saddles.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite comedy of all time. Gene Wilder and everything. It's so good. It's so good. The thing is like Mel Brooks makes fun of all races in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Right. And it's they're jokes, making fun. None of it is meant to. It is a movie. It's not meant to be real. So anyone, out there listening and stuff, racism it's a huge thing in this world. It still is today, and I hate it. But when it comes to that type of comedy and stuff like that, it's hard not to laugh because it's just pure gold.
Yeah, and
Love it.
he as a director is pure gold, and writer. I think he writes all these. Like,
yeah,
he did Spaceballs.
Yep.
He did Young Frankenstein. I mean, those two stand out. So to the audience, you got to look up those three movies. That's a beautiful first round pick right there.
Yeah, very very good pick. Well done.
All right, I'm gonna go next. I'm just gonna jump right over Nick, and I'm gonna go next. So I get the second pick.
I'm screwed. Well, I got two in a row though, so that's good.
Yeah, you do. You get two in a row.
Pick. That's what I want to know. Like, how was it picked?
I am selecting Dumb and Dumber.
That's a good one. That's a
Dumb and Dumber. I think I just stole Nick's.
You definitely stole my pick.
Alex, you did me a favor because that was my number one pick. So the fact that you jumped and you took Blazing Saddles, Dumb and Dumber. I'm trying to think. I haven't watched it in a while. I hope it still holds up, but I piss my pants every time I watch that movie. It's just brilliance. Brilliance. The Farley brothers, just brilliance. The movies they put out too. Speaking of Mel Brooks, the Farley brothers as well.
Yes.
Another great writers and directors. Nick,
also I gotta say we can't really expand so much because it could be someone else's other picks. Like
that's true.
As much as we talk about some other ones, like
right.
I know. I'm trying to be Mel Kiper.
I got two in a row coming. So
I'm trying to be Roger Goodell and run the draft and Mel Kiper, and then also the New England Patriots. I'm picking in the middle there too. So all right, Nick, you're up.
All right. Oh man. All right. So, damn it. Dumb and Dumber is my jam. I quote that movie at least once a week in some way. That's okay. That's all right. We're moving on. I'm going to go with something a little bit more modern. It's got a little Will Ferrell in it. Got to have a little Will Ferrell if it's a modern thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Old school. Okay. And I was in a fraternity in college. So I really love this movie because this just for the context for the audience, if you haven't seen this, it's a bunch of 40-something dads that start a fraternity at a college. And
Frank the Tank,
baby. And it's just glorious.
Were you privy to oil wrestling in the basement?
You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy.
Blue.
Oh, it's
it's just debauchery, and it's like Will Ferrell in his prime, and Vince Vaughn is in it, and his prime. There's just so much awesomeness in that movie. So that's what I'm going with.
All right. So with the third overall pick, Nick takes Old School.
I do.
The top of the second round, Nick. Who are you taking?
This is hard. I've got a few. I'm going to go slightly less modern, but I almost live my life like this guy when I'm off camera. And I'm going to go with the Big Lebowski, the dude.
Ooh, that's good.
He's my man in that movie. Just and then another great cast, right? Like John Goodman, Steve Buscemi, and Jeff Bridges is it's an amazing. He's drinking White Russians the entire time. It's just everything goes wrong that can go wrong, and it's just an amazing movie. So I'm going with that one. The dude.
So now that I'm going to start calling you the dude at family parties now, Nick.
I had those shorts and sandals. Like I used to literally wear that outfit. So it's all good.
Okay. All right. So with the first pick in the second round, the Big Lebowski is off the table. Okay. The second pick in the second round to LZ, I am going to go with, it's a toss-up, but no one chose my second overall pick, so I have to go with it. I'm going with The Hangover.
Ooh.
Oh. Galifianakis in...
Go 3 rounds because I have multiples right now. So.
Oh, jeez.
That's a good one though. The Hangover is great. From it and everything else.
The Wolf Pack.
Oh,
I mean, you can go. I met Mike Tyson this weekend. I mean, shit. So
Yeah.
Oh, look at name dropping over
okay.
here.
All right.
Mike Tyson.
No big deal.
It's great.
It's no big deal.
Why didn't we ask you about Mike Tyson earlier? All right. All
Get
right.
to the
So
stuff. No. Go look at my Chantilly content from weeks
All
past,
right.
and you'll see
oh
it.
shoot, that's right. Yes, I think I did see it. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Okay, so with the last pick in the draft, this is
guest.
actually Mr. Irrelevant. The Mr. Irrelevant pick in this draft goes. What are we taking, Alex?
I'm going to tell you right now, the main character in this was not irrelevant.
Oh,
His name was Tommy in Tommy Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yes. That was my number.
Fat man in a little coat, baby.
Oh man.
6 picks. That was what? Whoa! I'm on it.
Oh, we got balloons for the people on audio. He hit the wrong
the
button.
video.
There's just party balloons everywhere. We're
Yeah,
having fun.
I'm on an Apple product, so if you put up, deuces, you get balloons. I guess.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
All right. Learn something new every day. Oh, the trash bag. Oh my God. Tommy Boy. Oh my God.
Tommy Boy's great.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tommy Boy is great.
Is that the one where he put the oil in, but he left the can so the lid just went flying off the car?
Yes.
Oh no, yes, that is that one. Right.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yes.
I used 10 or whatever. I used the right oil. He's like, what'd you do?
And when he hit him beside the head with the piece of wood, he's like, it hurts right here and here. I'm like, no, it's
Not
good.
so much here.
Oh man, I feel like I need to go watch some of these now. I'm feeling inspired tonight. One of these is going on the TV tonight.
Yes. Yes. Well, everyone
mentions. Some other
honorable mentions. Well, Step Brothers. That was mine. That was my third. That was my third on my list. The Step Brothers. It's the Catalina wine mixer.
It is. Another Will Ferrell, right?
I was, it's funny for me. I was gonna go along the Will Ferrell route. I was thinking of like timeless stuff you don't think about. Like Elf is a great comedy. You watch it once a year. All of us watch it once a year. And it holds up. And then you go down the Christmas thing, and there's all sorts of Christmas Vacation and all that, right?
Christmas Vacations, all the vacation movies, that.
So Nick is it's all over his IG. He's learning to play guitar, and he's getting really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
My son is also learning to play guitar, and now Nick's son is learning to play bass guitar. And I actually had number 6 on my list. This is Spinal Tap. And I wanted to show my son because that movie is classic if you're into music for a comedy. Fantastic. Check that one out, everybody.
You have other old schools like Airplane. You have Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
I can throw out old school ones. I guess they come things.
Fantastic. Wow, that was fun.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it's in the books, everybody. You all witnessed the first of many drafts here at Sports Card Madness.
All right.
First draft was movies and not sports related like movies.
Yeah, I mean, we got to have some fun. It can't all be, we can't always talk about cards, right? So that was awesome.
Right.
I'm like I said, I'm inspired. I have like a few days of stuff to watch now. All right, LZ, we're gonna close this thing down. Alex, wanted to give you an opportunity just to speak to the audience. How can they follow you? If they want to get in touch with you, how can they do that? Just, share with them how the best ways to do that.
Yep. So if you're on any social media platform, even like Fanatics Live, whatnot, or whatever, if you see the username ArmyATC22, that I have them in every Discord platform, whatever. That is me. There is no one else. Mainly I'm on Instagram these days. I am on TikTok also. A lot of stuff I put on Instagram I throw on TikTok because they're about this. They still works there. The algorithm on TikTok is just so much better for you to get in the card content than it is Instagram. But a lot of stuff's on Instagram. Majority of stuff. I am still doing a little bit on YouTube, not as much because it's harder with the cameras and everything else and the long form compared to short form. And everything is just time consuming. Again, this is a hobby for me, not a full-time job. So whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to just, put together. The majority is on Instagram. If you reach out to me on there, message me and stuff like that, I will respond. A lot of times it's if I'm not following you, it'll be in my request. I actually check those boxes every once in a while to see if there's anything in there. I've actually ran into a lot of people and done some deals with people through there and stuff. So, but if you follow me on there, majority of the time, if I go to your page and I see there's content on there or cards or stuff, I'm going to follow you back. A lot of people's accounts, you'll see the ratio of who people they're following and followers is nowhere near close. It's like they have 5,000 followers, but they're following 1,000 people, right? And everything. No, I like to be involved as much of this industry and this hobby that I can be. So I will watch a lot of other people's content and I'll share it too. I know right now I'm putting together a few reels of, how I discussed earlier. There's a community on TikTok, there's a community on Instagram, there's a community, on YouTube and stuff. I'm gonna be posting in those communities like, hey, TikTok, come to Instagram. These are the people you should come see. Hey, Instagram, go to TikTok. You should follow these guys because they're pretty big over there. Trying to bridge the gap and everything. So if you see me at shows, a lot of East Coast shows. It's hard for me to get out west and everything, but a lot of East Coast shows. Chantilly, Virginia, CSA, that's my big regional one around here. Virginia Beach shows, and of course the National. If you're going to be there, comment on some of my stuff. You're going to be there, and I will do everything I can to meet you, give you a sticker, maybe some swag. I'm still in the works with some stuff for the National, right? And everything. But I want to meet people, maybe get your story. If you want to be on video, I can get your story, especially if you have some cool stories, right? That's always getting that out to other individuals would be great. That's one of my main goals. So follow me. You don't have to come out there and just watch the content. You don't need to put a follow, but guess what? I'm putting stuff out every day. You're going to miss stuff like, you see videos of me interviewing Luke Kuechly. I did that at CSA shows. Going on, big trips and breaking with professional athletes and everything. So, yeah, come on and check it out and have a good time.
Awesome.
All
Just
right.
an all around good dude. I think it's another example, people that make fun of the hobby or aren't in the hobby. It's like, this has really benefited you as a veteran, and other veterans. And I think that's really cool. It's like another angle. And with Memorial Day coming up, this felt like a good chat, like about that aspect of the hobby that I don't think a lot of people realize, that this has been a powerful tool for you, and other people. And it's just fantastic. So thank you for sharing everything.
I appreciate it. Again, Nick, LZ, I appreciate you guys having me on, and hopefully I come on again and, in the future, and discuss more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again. That's the pod, everyone.
Bye, everyone.